if it exists. This is a pretty straightforward problem, I think. Let's check it out. I think I had this somewhere else too in an example somewhere. But okay, hold on. Let's go ahead and put in x equals 1/2. And if I do that, I get 2 times 1/2 squared plus 3 times 1/2 minus 2. That's in the numerator. In the denominator, 2 times 1/2 minus 1. In the denominator, it's easier to see that that's going to give 0 in the denominator. It's a little more tricky in the numerator, but it's also going to give 0, I guess. Anyway, it's 0. Okay. The writing got a little hard to read. I might change the pen thickness. Okay. Okay, look. What this shows, if nothing, okay, it shows 2 things. One, that we have a 0 over 0, which is an indeterminate form, which makes us think that we can do things without using algebra to reduce this fraction. But another thing that we can take away from this is that 1/2 is a root, it's a 0 of these polynomials. Now the denominator, there's no factoring that needs to be done. But because 1/2 is a 0 of the numerator, that means that 2x minus 1 is a factor. I mean, that statement is, let me just leave it there, but there's a little bit of a maybe I need to qualify that a little bit, but still, that's essentially what's going on. And 2x minus 1 is a factor. And so if I note that 2x minus 1 factor, it's way easier to factor the polynomial if I already know one of the factors. If I have 2x, then the other x term will just be x. And if I have -1, okay, so see, -1 times 2 makes -2. I mean, knowing one factor is certainly going to make it easier. And then you can double check to see that that works. But just keep that in mind if you're ever struggling on the factorization. That you can, one factor is essentially given to us, and then that makes it easier to find the full factorization. So I get 1/2 plus 4/2. That's not really, doesn't really have much of a special technique or method. It's simply factoring. All right, the next one is similar to something we did recently in another problem. So let's see if we can figure this out. What method are we going to use? How can we simplify this? What will you do to simplify this? There's different ways, but
multiply the top and bottom by 5x.
There you go, because 5x is the common denominator. It's not the only way to do it, but I think it works pretty nicely when you do it this way. Then we'll multiply that using the distributive property in the numerator, and we get limit x approaches 5 of 1 over x times 5x makes 5, and 1/5 times 5x makes -x. The denominator, I'm not going to multiply through. By the way, you can maybe just by inspection, looking at this, if you put in x equals 5, you get 0 in the numerator and 0 in the denominator. And then we see 5 minus x and x minus 5 look so similar, but they're not exactly the same. To get this numerator to be, here's 5 minus x, I can factor out -1 to make x minus 5. That's what I can do. I factor out -1 from 5 minus x. So we use a minus b is equal to opposite b minus parentheses b minus a. That's what I'm using there. Okay, and then I got sidetracked, and let me go ahead and do the denominator. And x minus 5 cancel. And so therefore we have limit x approaches 5 of -1 over 5x, which is -1, 5 times 5, which is -1 over 25. All righty, I'll back up on those. So the last one here on this page, yeah, back up. Anything you want to talk about? Any questions?